Most Lincoln pennies look ordinary, but some hide secrets worth serious money. Certain years, mint marks, and tiny errors make collectors pay hundreds, even thousands, for a single coin. Millions pass through pockets every day, and most people spend them without noticing. The question is, could the penny in your hand be one of the rare ones? The 1984 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin almost everyone has handled at some point in their life. It was minted in massive quantities and spent decades being overlooked, tossed into pockets, jars, and drawers without a second thought. To most people, it is just another copper-colored cent with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But what many collectors eventually discovered is that some 1984 pennies were struck with rare and dramatic minting errors, and those mistakes turned ordinary coins into highly valuable collectibles. Most 1984 Lincoln pennies have very little value. Coins without errors, whether they were minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark or in Denver with a D, are extremely common. In circulated condition, a normal 1984 penny is usually worth only 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, without any special characteristics, these coins typically sell for just a few dollars at most. Because millions were produced, supply far outweighs demand for standard examples. The story changes completely when an authentic mint error is present. The most famous and desirable error found on the 1984 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse, commonly known among collectors as the double-ear penny. This error occurred during the die-making process when the design was impressed onto the die more than once but slightly misaligned. The result is a noticeable doubling, especially around Lincoln's ear, beard, and sometimes the word liberty. When comparing values, the difference between a normal coin and an error coin is staggering. A regular 1984 penny might sit unnoticed in a coin jar, but a genuine double die example immediately becomes a serious collector's piece. Even heavily circulated double die pennies can sell for several $100s. In better circulated condition, values often range from $225 to $500, simply because of the strong demand for this specific error. Once condition improves, prices rise dramatically. Uncirculated examples with sharp details and strong doubling have sold at auction for several $1,000s. Certified specimens in high grades have achieved prices above $3,000, and in especially competitive auctions, collectors have pushed prices even higher. These are no longer casual purchases but strategic investments pursued by experienced numismatists. In extremely rare cases, exceptional examples of the 1984 double die penny have reached astonishing levels. Coins with flawless surfaces, strong red color, and clear doubling, graded at the highest levels, can command prices far beyond what most people would expect from a 1-cent coin. In premium auctions and private sales, rare specimens have reached values ranging from $64,560 to as high as $154,870 when demand, rarity, and condition align perfectly. These prices reflect not just the error itself, but how few top-quality examples exist. Beyond the famous double die, other error varieties also exist for the 1984 penny. Off-center strikes are one such error. These occur when the blank planchet is not properly aligned during the striking process, causing part of the design to be missing. Depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, off-center 1984 pennies can sell for anywhere from $10 to over $200. The more visible the error and the clearer the date, the higher the value. Another collectible error is the clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin is physically missing due to a cutting error during planchet preparation. These errors are usually smaller in value compared to double die coins, but they still add significant interest. Clipped planchet 1984 pennies often sell in the $15 to $50 range, and sometimes higher if the clip is large and clearly defined. Repunched mint marks are also seen on some Denver-minted 1984 pennies. This happens when the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, leaving overlapping impressions. While not as dramatic as double dies, repunched mint marks are popular among error collectors and can raise a coin's value into the $10 to $50 range, depending on visibility and condition. There are also rare cases where pennies were struck on improper or defective planchets, resulting in unusual coloration or missing copper plating. These coins may appear gray or dull instead of the normal copper color. Such errors are highly collectible and can sell for $20 to over $100. particularly when certified and well-preserved. When you compare all these error coins to a standard 1984 penny, the difference is unmistakable. A normal coin remains common and inexpensive, while an error coin tells a unique story of a mistake made during production. That mistake is exactly what collectors are willing to pay for. The rarity, visual appeal, and historical curiosity behind these errors are what drive prices from a few cents to tens of thousands of dollars. Condition plays a critical role in determining value. Two coins with the same error can have vastly different prices depending on wear, surface quality, and color. Coins that have been professionally graded and authenticated command significantly higher prices, especially in major auctions where collectors compete aggressively for the finest known examples. For anyone who owns 1984 pennies, careful inspection can be worthwhile. Using magnification to check Lincoln's ear, facial features, and lettering can reveal details that the naked eye might miss. While most coins will turn out to be ordinary, the possibility that a rare error could be hiding in plain sight is what makes this coin so fascinating. A single cent from 1984 may not seem important at first glance, but with the right error and condition, it can represent history, rarity, and extraordinary value. What was once loose change can become a centerpiece of a serious collection, proving that even the smallest coins can carry enormous worth. The 1999 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a coin many people overlook because it was produced in the millions and most of them end up lost in jars, trays, and cash registers. At first glance, it looks like any other cent, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Most of these coins are completely ordinary, with no unusual traits. If you found one in your pocket right now, you would likely think nothing of it. You might spend it without a second thought. That's because the vast majority of 1999 D pennies are worth face value or, at most, a couple of dollars in uncirculated condition. These coins are standard issue, common, and not particularly exciting to the average collector. But then there are the rare error coins that transform this otherwise plain penny into one of the most sought-after Lincoln cents of the modern era. Among these rare varieties, the most famous and valuable is the 1999 D double die obverse penny, sometimes known as the 1999 D DDO. This error arises from a mistake during the die-making process. When the die was prepared to strike the coins, the design for the obverse was impressed more than once, slightly misaligned. The result is an unmistakable doubling of key features, especially on the date, the word Liberty, and Lincoln's shoulder and beard. This doubling is not a small blur. It's dramatic and clear once you know what to look for. A regular 1999 D penny, even in brilliant mint state condition, might sell for a few dollars. If it's been circulated, most are worth only a cent or two. That's because billions of these coins were produced, and collectors do not place much value on the ordinary ones. Without an error, a 1999 D penny is just common pocket change. But the moment an error like the double die is present, the coin's story changes dramatically. A circulated 1999 D double die penny in average condition could easily bring hundreds of dollars in the right marketplace. Many collectors hunt these coins by the thousands, examining rolls until they find that rare misstrike. But condition plays a huge role. When an error coin still retains much of its original mint luster and shows sharp doubling, that's when serious money starts to appear. In uncirculated grades, a 1999 D double die penny can sell for several $1,000s. Collectors at major auctions have pushed prices up into the mid-thousands for certified examples that display strong doubling and excellent surfaces. For most people, seeing a report like $2, $500 or $3, $100 for a penny is almost shocking. Yet for error collectors, these prices are evidence of how rare and desirable these mistakes are. Now imagine discovering one in exceptional condition, one that stands out from all others. Not just a typical error, but one of the finest known examples in existence. A coin with strong red color, full mint luster, and bold, unmistakable doubling on every key detail. These top-tier coins are so rare that when they come up for auction, competitive bidding can push prices far beyond what most people expect a penny to be worth. In extremely rare instances, and only for the most exceptional specimens, prices have reached astonishing levels, with offers ranging from $64,560 to as high as $154,870 in private sales or high-profile auctions where serious collectors are determined to win. These numbers reflect not just the error itself, but scarcity and the intense demand among top-level numismatists. Other error types exist for the 1999 D penny as well. For example, off-center strikes occur when the blank planchet was misaligned during striking, so part of the design is missing. These coins vary widely in value depending on how far off-center the strike is. A slight off-center might bring $10 to $30, while a dramatic off-center with most of the design missing can sometimes sell for a few $100s. Clipped planchets are another form of error. These happen when the planchet wasn't cut correctly, leaving a curved or flat blank that gets struck as is. These coins often attract collectors because the clipping is clear and unusual, and values for clipped 1999 D pennies typically range from $15 to $75 or more in uncirculated condition. Repunched mint marks also show up on some 1999 D pennies. This is when the mint mark was punched more than once during production, leaving an overlapping or double D on the coin. It's a subtle type of error compared to the dramatic double die obverse, but still collectible. Depending on visibility and condition, coins with repunched mint marks might sell for $10 to $50 or more, with the more obvious and deeper punches being more desirable. It's worth noting that just because you see doubling on a coin doesn't automatically make it valuable. Many instances of doubling are caused by die wear or post-production damage, and collectors can identify the difference. Authentic double die errors have specific characteristics that trained eyes and numismatic experts know to look for. That's why professional grading and certification add significant value. A certified 1999 D double die penny with a high grade from a respected grading service can sell for far more than an uncertified one. Also, many collectors study auction records to get a sense of how these coins value over time. Some major auction houses have reported multiple sales of high-grade 1999 D double die pennies reaching into the five-figure range. When a coin with spectacular surfaces appears on the block, the energy of live bidding can push the final price into levels most people would never associate with a penny. One of the reasons some of these error coins command such high values is the limited number of high-quality examples known to exist. Collectors sometimes go years without seeing new specimens with strong eye appeal or undisturbed surfaces. When one finally appears, the competition can be fierce. And that competition is what drives prices from hundreds to thousands, and in extraordinarily rare cases, into the $64,560 to $154,870 range we mentioned earlier. For the average person who might stumble upon a 1999 D penny in pocket change, the odds of finding a major error are low but not zero. That's why enthusiasts encourage everyone to take a closer look at coins, especially if something looks unusual. A magnifying glass or a smartphone macro lens can reveal details that you would never notice at first glance. Most of the time, you'll find an ordinary coin, but every once in a while, someone finds a rare treasure at the end of the day. The 1999 D Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how a small mistake can create enormous value. From a coin that most people see as worth just 1 cent, rare error varieties have grown into some of the most talked about pieces in modern numismatics, with values that can soar to astonishing heights. What's common for the masses becomes priceless for the few who know what to look for. And that is why collectors around the world continue searching, hoping to uncover the next great error coin hidden in plain sight. Everyone thinks they know what a penny is worth. After all, it's just 1 cent, right? But in the world of coin collecting, pennies from certain years can be worth far more than their face value, especially when they contain errors that slipped through the minting process. Among these, the 2011 Lincoln 1-cent penny has become one of the most talked about modern error coins, mainly because of how unexpectedly rare and valuable some of its error varieties have proven to be. For most people, a 2011 Lincoln cent is just another coin that jangles around in your pocket or sits in a change jar. And for the overwhelming majority of these coins, that's absolutely all they are worth. A single-cent normal, error-free 2011 pennies, even in uncirculated condition, might bring a couple of dollars at most from a collector who wants a perfect example for a collection. There are millions upon millions of them. They were produced in huge numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and because no unusual demand exists for ordinary 2011 pennies, their prices remain low. But then you have something much rarer, coins that were struck incorrectly due to mistakes in the die, planchet, or minting process. These errors turn a common penny into something extraordinary. In the case of the 2011 Lincoln cent, one of the most coveted and valuable error types is what collectors call a significant double die obverse, a dramatic doubling of the design on the face of the coin, especially noticeable in the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's features. When you compare a normal 2011 penny to one with a dramatic double die error, the difference in value is astonishing. A normal penny might be worth only a few cents or a few dollars in exceptional uncirculated condition. But a genuine 2011 penny with a strong double die error, where the doubling is clear and unmistakable, immediately jumps into serious collectible status. In circulated condition, these error coins typically sell for several $100s, and in uncirculated condition, values can climb into the low thousands. Of course, the highest level of value comes from coins that combine rarity with outstanding condition. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay top dollar for 2011 penny error coins that show pristine surfaces, bold doubling, and strong eye appeal. At major auctions, certified examples in premium grades have reached remarkable prices. In competitive bidding environments, coins with the most dramatic doubling have sold for prices ranging from around $44,190 to as high as $122,950 when the coin's condition, saturation, and rarity all line up perfectly. These prices are not random. They reflect passionate collectors pushing the value up because they know how few of these coins exist in top condition. There are other types of errors to watch for as well. One less dramatic but still collectible error is the off-center strike, where the blank planchet wasn't aligned properly during the striking process. Depending on how far off-center the coin is, these can be moderately valuable. A slight off-center error might only be worth $10 or $20, while more dramatic misalignments with a visible date and design can be worth $100 or more. Off-center coins with nearly half the design missing can attract serious interest from error coin collectors. Another interesting error variety is the clipped planchet. This happens when the planchet, the blank piece of metal that becomes a coin, was improperly cut. This results in a penny that looks like a slice has been removed. Clipped planchet 2011 pennies can vary widely in value depending on size, location, and how much of the design remains. Typical values for these might range from $15 to $100 or more in certain conditions. Some 2011 pennies also show evidence of die cracks, lines that show up on the coin when the die begins to wear and split. While die cracks are generally less valuable than double dies or dramatic misstrikes, they still add collectible interest and bring more value than a standard penny. Depending on the severity and prominence of the cracks and where they appear on the coin, collectors might pay $10 to $50 or occasionally more for interesting die crack examples. You might also encounter broad-struck errors, where a coin was struck without being properly constrained, causing it to be slightly larger, thinner, and often with a stretched design. These are less common than some other errors and can command values between $50 and several $100s if the error is dramatic and the date is fully visible. When discussing these error values, it's important to understand why they differ so widely from normal 2011 pennies. The key is rarity and demand. Normal coins are everywhere, and almost every collector already has one. There's no excitement there. But error coins are unusual. Each one is a record of something that went wrong in the mint, something unique. When you add scarcity and collectability together, you suddenly have the conditions for real value, and in rare cases, extraordinary value. Auction results illustrate this vividly. A certified 2011 penny with obvious double die error in a high grade will consistently bring strong bids and competitive prices. It's not uncommon in active markets for these coins to sell for several thousands, and in rare premium cases to climb into price zones that casual collectors would never expect from a 1-cent piece. That's how you get results in the range of $44,190 or even up to $122,950, where a combination of rarity, collector demand, and beautiful preservation creates a perfect storm of value. For the everyday person who might have 2011 pennies in their pocket or saved somewhere, the chance of finding an error coin of this caliber is incredibly small. But it does happen. Every so often, someone discovers an error penny and submits it for professional grading and authentication, and sometimes the results are surprising. Coins that were once unnoticed suddenly become headlines within the coin collecting community. Condition is everything. A dramatic error barely visible on a worn, scratched penny won't attract nearly the same attention as one that is crisp, clean, and bold in its error characteristics. This is why professional grading by services like PCGS or NGC is so important. It tells buyers and sellers exactly what they are looking at, And that certification often supports much higher prices in auction settings. So when you next handle a 2011 Lincoln 1-cent penny, take a closer look. At first glance, it might seem insignificant, but under magnification and careful observation, you might just uncover a mistake that turns an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Even if most pennies remain low-value everyday change, the rare error coins tell a very different story. One of hidden scarcity, collector passion, and values that can reach far beyond what most people would ever expect. And in the rarest, most perfect examples, the numbers from $44,190 to $122,950 prove that even a humble penny can become something priceless in the world of numismatics.